The time is now, episode 322. We live in a world where everyone can build visibility, and yet it's becoming harder than ever to actually be noticed. Not because you're not good at what you do, but because people's attention spans are shorter than ever. And if they don't understand immediately why you are the right person for them, they move on. That is why your positioning and your messaging matters more than ever. Welcome to The Time Is Now, the podcast for mission-driven solopreneurs ready to take action and go from invisible to in demand. I am your host, Emel Beregi. My mission is to help you cut through the noise, get crystal clear on your strategy, and position yourself as the go-to expert in your field. But this podcast isn't just about marketing. It's also about building your resilience and staying ahead of the shifts in our world so you can be the leader and change maker you truly are. This is your time to create more growth, alignment, and impact in your business. In the previous episode, we talked about niching and why choosing a niche is so important to convert your efforts into clients. But your niche is only the beginning of this process. Once your niche is clear, the next step is defining your positioning and your messaging. But the reality is that today the world is noisier than ever. AI is generating content at scale, and everyone is visible, everyone is showing up. So visibility on its own is not enough anymore. What you need is a strong positioning that attracts your ideal clients and gets their attention. And you need clarity in how to communicate your unique value. Also, when positioning isn't clear, marketing often feels much harder than it should. What I'm going to do is just list a few situations, and I'd love you to pay attention and see if this resonates with you. Growing your visibility feels slow and inconsistent. You don't always know what to talk about in your content. Or explaining what you do feels harder than it should. Or you struggle to feel confident when selling your services. Maybe even you struggle to structure and price your offers properly. So you end up attracting the wrong clients, or you simply struggle to attract clients at all consistently. So you start trying different things. You try to post more often on social media. You try different tactics, different platforms. You experiment different strategies. And you just end up feeling depleted. Nothing works. So does any of this feel familiar with you? And if so, don't worry, my friend, I am here to support you. So today I'll walk you through the 5 key shifts to help you get unstuck and go from invisible to in demand. What's important to understand is this. When your positioning and messaging is unclear, your marketing feels scattered, your content lacks direction, and your potential clients don't immediately get it. They don't understand the value that you bring. And another thing that I see all the time when I talk to solopreneurs about their marketing challenges, the first thing they worry about is their presence on social media. But here is what I want you to really understand. Social media is actually the last piece of the puzzle. There are much more important steps you need to take before you even get to the point where you worry about social media. And one of the main ones is having a clear positioning and messaging. Once this foundation is clear, marketing really becomes much more simple, more easy to be consistent, and so much more effective in really attracting your clients. So let me give you a very simple test to know if you are on the right track with your positioning. Here it is. So if someone asks you right now, what do you do? Could you explain it clearly in 30 to 45 seconds? And could you do it in a way that makes your ideal client immediately say, "Oh my God, that's me. Tell me more." That's what strong positioning is supposed to do. It makes people recognize themselves instantly in what you say. And if that's not happening yet, it doesn't mean that you're not good at what you do. It simply means that your positioning and your messaging need more clarity. So let's first clarify what positioning really means and the difference between your niche and your positioning. Because the line between niche and positioning can actually be very subtle. So, in a nutshell, your niche defines first who you serve, who are your ideal clients, your specific niche, and second, what problem you solve for them. Your niche, it gives you your focus and the direction of your marketing. And if you need more help to really identify your ideal niche, I really recommend you to listen to the episode 320 where I dive deeper into this topic. To find it, go to thetimeisnow.biz/320. Now, your positioning is what makes you stand out in a noisy world. It defines the place that you occupy in the market compared to everybody else, but also in the mind of your audience. And combined with a strong messaging, your positioning becomes the foundation of your brand identity. It actually answers the question, why should someone choose you? And when they hear about you, your ideal clients need to immediately think, like I said before, this is exactly what I need. So, bottom line, if you want to position yourself as the go-to expert in your field, there is one very important question you need to clearly answer. And the question is, what do you want to be known for? This can feel like a huge question to answer and maybe even intimidating. But here's the good news. Today, I'm going to give you the 5 essential steps to build a strong answer to this question. The first essential pillar of your positioning is the following: defining the transformation you provide. In fact, your positioning becomes effective when people understand what is that transformation that they will experience with you. In marketing terms, we also call it your value proposition and also your brand promise. Earlier, I asked you, how would you explain what you do in 30 to 45 seconds? And here is a simple exercise that will help you define your value proposition in an impactful but also memorable way. So what you need to clearly identify is A, what are the challenges and pain points your clients experience before they work with you? Then B, what are the outcomes and the results they experience after working with you? And finally, C, how do you take them from A to B? So in simple terms, you want to be able to fill out the blanks of this key sentence. I help X, which is your niche, go from A to B. A being where they are today, and B being where they want to be. For example, in my case, here's what I say. I help mission-driven solopreneurs, my niche, go from invisible to in demand. Once you have done that, then the next step is to add more information of how you do that. For example, in my case, I say, I help them turn messy marketing into clear strategies and strong foundations to position themselves as the go-to expert in their field. I actually just recently introduced myself again at a networking event where we had to present what we do. And right after that, 4 women came to ask me about my services and requested an assessment session. So this really shows how having clarity on your value proposition and being able to verbalize it in an effective and short elevator pitch really gets the attention. I'm going to share with you now the next steps. But before we move on with this topic, can I please ask you just a small favor? So if you're getting value from this episode, if it's helping you think differently and get clarity on your business, please take a moment to subscribe to the show on the app that you're using right now, whether that's Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iTunes, or any platform, because subscribing helps this podcast reach more mission-driven solopreneurs like you. And it allows me to continue creating these episodes and sharing the strategies, the tools, and the mindset shifts that help you go from invisible to in demand. So all you need to do is to press on the button that says subscribe or follow. And in exchange, I really commit to continue to bring you thoughtful, practical, and high-value episodes to support your growth, your alignment, and your impact. Thank you so much. This would mean the world to me. Okay, so now let's talk about the second pillar, which is to conduct a market research and identify the language of your ideal clients. This is one critical piece that many people skip. Because yes, you need to be clear on the value that you know you deliver, but you also need to be deeply connected to your audience and understand their needs, but also how they express them. Your positioning is expressing what they need, but also the right language, the one that your target audience resonates with. So you really need to clearly identify, number one, how your clients describe their challenges, number two, the outcome they care about, and three, the words they use to express that. So make sure to do your research. Because when you get this right, very often you'll hear your audience say this to you. It feels like you're in my head. It's unbelievable. So I've heard this so many times, and it really creates validation. So if you haven't taken the steps to speak to your ideal clients and to do your market research, understand the words they use and their reality, know that it becomes very difficult to create messaging that truly resonates. And that is also what makes your content feel flat and your message not click with them. Strong positioning and messaging don't come from guesswork. They're built on a deep understanding of your market and your niche. And also the deep understanding of the psychology of your ideal clients, the mindset they're in before they come to you, and how you position yourself in all of this. So if you'd like more guidance on how to run your market research, I do have a couple of past episodes where I go deeper into this topic. I listed them all for you, and I'll share them in the show notes of this episode that you will find on thetimeisnow.biz/322. Now, the third pillar is to connect your brand to your big why. On top of being clear on your value proposition and deeply understanding your clients, what will truly set you apart is being deeply connected to your big why. This is the mission and the message behind your brand, but also behind why you do what you do. As Simon Sinek says, people don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. Let me give you an example with my client, Katie. Before we worked together, she described herself as a personal trainer. This is very broad. It doesn't clearly communicate who she helps, what problems she solves, or why someone should choose her instead of any other personal trainer. So through our work together, she refined her positioning and she really tapped deep into her big why to the point where she was in tears. So today, this is how she describes herself. A fitness and healthy habits coach helping women over 40 navigate body changes and reclaim their strength, but without the noise, the pressure, and unrealistic standards of today's fitness culture. Isn't that so much more inspiring than simply saying, I'm a personal trainer? So now Katie's entire brand and marketing revolves around this powerful message that she deeply cares about. Women should not feel the pressure to do it all and beat it all according to society's standards. She also believes there are simple ways for women to take care of themselves, to build healthy routines, even when life gets hectic, without burning themselves out. So this is exactly what makes Katie unique compared to many trainers out there. In the episode just before this one, you can listen to the interview with Katie where she shares how we worked together on her positioning, her big why, and the impact it had on her confidence and her business. So I really invite you to listen to it if you want to dive deeper into a real case study of how you can implement what I'm sharing with you today and how it looks like in reality. Also, just last week, she sent me this lovely message via WhatsApp.
Hi, Mel. I hope all is well. I am sending a message because I just had to share something. I'm having a text catch up with some old colleagues of mine who are also good friends of mine. We've always had a group chat going, and we're catching up. They were asking about my business and whether I was going to do it full time and what I was planning. This is just how amazing being able to describe your niche is. I said my focus is women in their 40s and beyond who are dealing with busyness, life changes, body changes, and overwhelm from all the information out there about what they should be doing. And my one friend responded to that. She was like, "Wait, this is me." It was just so perfect, and so I just had to share that with you and say thanks again for helping me really figure out what I'm doing and who I'm talking to because it resonates with people.
It's truly amazing. Let's now move to the fourth important pillar, which is to keep repeating your message consistently. Here's the thing. In marketing, repetition and consistency in your messaging is the key to convert your audience into clients. It's through repetition that your positioning becomes clear, recognizable, and memorable. That is how you move from being one of many to becoming the person they remember and think of first when they need you. For instance, if you have been listening to my podcast for a while, you might have noticed how most of what I talk about turns around helping mission-driven solopreneurs go from invisible to in demand. I also repeat these words consistently in many of my episodes, and I create content that consistently supports this big idea, even if I say it in different ways. And because I truly care about what is happening in our world, I work with solopreneurs who have a big mission to make this world a better place. So therefore, I also provide content that gives them the inspiration they need to take action and show up to their full potential. And this is actually what inspired the name of this podcast. The time is now. On top of the fact that every time that a client comes to me, they tell me this is my time. So very important for you to stay consistent with your language, your messaging, and your positioning through everything you do in your business. Okay, now time for the final and fifth key pillar I will share with you today, which is develop your unique voice and unique methodology. This is the more invisible part of your branding, but it is still really powerful. Because your positioning is reinforced by how you connect with your ideal clients, with your authentic way of being, and how you deliver real results. Your unique voice is how you express your ideas, your perspective, and what you stand for. It's what makes your message feel more like you and not like everyone else in your space. But beyond your unique voice, there's also your methodology, which you can also call your own IP. This is how you structure the transformation that you help your clients achieve. It's the framework that's behind your work and your offers. So if you don't have one, make sure to pay attention to how you can transform your knowledge into a clear framework and methodology that you can turn into an important piece of your brand. For example, in my case, when I work with my clients, I guide them through what I call the 3 C's to go from invisible to in demand. And these 3 C's are clarity, consistency, and conversion. This really gives structure to the journey from understanding their positioning, how to show up consistently, and how to turn that visibility they get into real results. You can actually explore my 3Cs through my quiz, which helps you identify where you stand in your business right now and how to turn your challenges into opportunities using my 3C method. So you will find this quiz in the show notes of this episode or on my homepage. Go to thetimeiSnow.biz/322. And here's another example with my client Katie that I mentioned before. Together, we developed her Habit Champions framework that is built around 3 important pillars that she has come up with throughout her work, which is movement, nutrition, and mindset. Everything in her offer is aligned with these important pillars. And that's the power of clear methodology. It may not be always the first thing that people see when they discover your brand, but as soon as they enter your world, it really creates that trust and that credibility. It shows that your work is structured, intentional, and grounded in a clear approach, in a professional approach. And that's what strengthens your credibility, but also positions you as the go-to expert. All right, so let's now recap the 5 essential pillars that I shared with you to build strong positioning and messaging. Number 1, define your transformation. Number 2, do your market research. Number 3, connect to your big why. Number 4, repeat your message consistently. And number 5, develop your unique voice and methodology. And here is what I invite you to do this week or immediately after this episode. Start clarifying your value proposition by completing the exercise I shared with you earlier. The one where I say, I help X, your niche, go from A to B. And then in a short, effective words, explain how you do it. This will be a great start for you to get clarity. So go back to this episode where I explain you more about this exercise, but I highly recommend you to do it as soon as possible. This will bring you so much more clarity. And if you're ready, just like Katie and many of my clients, to take this exercise to the next level and go deeper so that you can build a really personalized strategy that helps you go from invisible to in demand, then know that I'd love to support you. You can schedule a free assessment call with me. Find the link on thetimeiSnow.biz/322. During this call, we'll look at where you are in your business today. We will clarify your needs, and I'll share with you how we can work together to help you achieve your goals. I hope that this episode was truly valuable for you. Thank you so much for spending this time with me today, and please don't forget to subscribe. See you in the next episode for more inspiration to go from invisible to in demand. The time is now for you to create more growth, alignment, and impact with your business.